Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be journaling about a trip that we took to Kentucky. We were out there for a competition, and I have a couple of things extra like this. I thought it could go. We did go to a coffee shop, so I have this that I had in my regular stash, and then I have a leaf that we found, a tag from some item that I thrifted, pictures. We went to a couple different places, and then this booklet also came from one of the gardens that we went to. So this is my current journal. I did used to have this listed on my Etsy, but one of my daughters wanted one of the ones from the collection, and then the other one wanted the other one. So we each have one of the journals that I made when I made this one. And originally I was in a journal that was ring bound, so instead of being bound with signatures, it was just like rings that you could open up and move the pages around. And I had bought that journal from someone else, but I did not enjoy kind of having the ability to move pages around. I actually like for the pages to stay where they're at. So I ended up taking out all of the pages that I had journaled in the old journal and then tipping them in here. Like for example, this one came from the other journal and I tipped it in here, this one. And so anyways, I am going to journal starting here in the back because I have some pages, like a lot more pages in a row. Everywhere else, I only have like 3 pages or so in between. And I think this journaling session might take a couple pages. So this is where I'm going to be starting at. And yeah, I might do a voiceover at some point because once I get into kind of the journaling groove, sometimes I forget to talk and things like that, and just, So yeah, let's see where this journaling session takes us. So I did end up going with a voiceover right away because the girls joined me for this journaling session and we were just chit-chatting. So the first thing that I'm doing is sorting all the pictures by day that we were there. So I'm actually surprised how much ephemera I accumulated during this trip. I got things like the coffee sleeves that you see. I have map guides, receipts, different pamphlets. I have this ad. It was I went to this really big flea market and they had like an advertisement for an event they were having. And I thought it was cool, so I took it for the name and also the location of the flea market. And so I'm tipping that in to give me an extra page. And then I'm also going to circle the date, even though it wasn't the date that we were there. Oh no, actually I ended up circling the location, not the date. But the date is cool too because it was kind of around that time. It was just the following weekend. This little book that you see here, I have all my printables and I'll have my favorite Etsy shops listed in the description box. So I just found one that would give me some journaling space for the back of this tipping. And for this page, on the right side, it's actually pretty brittle. So I was looking for something that I could reinforce it with. And I went with this coffee menu, which actually my husband grabbed for me because he knows that I love journaling. And so he's like, oh, I grabbed this for you. I thought you might want it. So yeah, I'm using it just mostly to make the page a little bit thicker. But also since it had the coffee menu or coffee news, I kind of used it for the word coffee. And I'm using this little box from a sticker pack that I had, and I just put it there because it was a coffee cup. And if you've seen any of my videos before, you know that I journal without thinking, basically. I just start putting things where I think they go. If they fit, they will end up there. And so this spot that we were at, they had a train right through the center of the city. And we actually got to see the train, so we took some pictures as the train was passing. And I grabbed this from one of the shops, like a little flyer. And I kind of cut around just to give an outline and some interest to the page. And I'm using that as a flip to put some of the pictures from the coffee shop that was around the train. And then here I'm grabbing another little printable, which I cut around in a wavy line, just again for some different lines on the page. And I'm putting that down for some journaling space. Here you will see some of that I talk about, that I just start sticking things if they fit. Sometimes, at least for me, if you just start overthinking about, oh, how will this look? Or I want to make sure that it comes out perfect, then it just kind of takes out the fun of it. And ultimately, you just want to do some art journaling, do some scrapbooking, junk journaling, whatever, and not necessarily have to worry so much about what it looks like, and just get your memories down on the page. So you'll see that's how I journal. I don't really play around with it too much. I did edit some of the pieces of maybe trying like a sticker here or a sticker there, but really I'm just trying to be quick with it and just get it on the page. Here I'm going through some of those printables again, trying to see if something will fit in that little spot at the bottom. And then I also put a label for some quick journaling. And then I'm going through the printables again to find something to decorate the little flip. And I go with one of these little flags. I thought the yellow looked cool and it popped. I laminated that leaf that we found, and it's so cool. It looks just like a heart. But it was really brittle, so I had to laminate it. So I'm tipping that in because that always looks cool to have a laminated specimen, and you can see through it to the next page. We went to a garden while we were in Kentucky, and they had a lot of free, what do you call it? Like these like postcards. They had the pamphlet. So I grabbed a couple of things, of course, because I knew I would want to use them on my journal. So believe it or not, I am cutting into this beautiful postcard, and I'm trying to make a little pocket. But then I cut it just a tiny bit too short, and I just didn't like how it looked. So I kept that for something else to use later on, and ended up using this side, which actually was the prettier side of the postcard. So I'm cutting that and making it into a pocket. And when we went during the spring, so everything was green, like spring, summer. But it looks like it would be such a beautiful place to visit in the fall time with all the red and the yellow. I live in Florida, so we don't get a lot of that. Maybe like one tree. But anyways, I ripped the cover of the pamphlet because those pink flowers are so pretty. And it has a cute little bee on there. And so I'm just kind of haphazardly tearing this page up and putting it on this kind of blank page anyways. So I'm gluing that in. And some people don't like shiny things in their journal. I don't know. I think it looks cool. And, junk journaling. So yeah, I'm putting that in and letting it dry. And I move on to another page. Or no, I'm flipping through this thing again to kind of see what else I could use from it. And I put it aside for the moment because I didn't see anything else. So here I am tipping another postcard, and this is why my journal is so bulky. So I'm tipping in another postcard, and I decide to cut off this little page because it's just kind of in my way. So I rip it off, but to make sure that it doesn't come undone, I wanted to, you'll see, I just kind of put the washi tape over it while I'm tipping in the postcard so that it stays put and it doesn't want to come out on the other side. And I have to trim the postcard a bit because it's too tall for my journal. And the way to get a straight line is I just kind of bend it. But because it's thicker, you can't cut it. So then you can't rip it with the ruler, but then I just use scissors to trim it down. And then I am going to start just laying things down as I do. I start with a picture, and then I want to add some journaling space, which the back of the postcard would have been fine, but adding a printable or something else just looks prettier. So I add a printable, that has lines, and it makes it easier to journal anyways. And then I just keep layering pictures. And I didn't want to cover the name of the garden, so I don't put anything over that. So this garden was really beautiful. It was really nice to walk through. They had some interesting like sculptures. I am kind of like a scary cat for like witchcraft and things like that. So some of the spots actually felt a little weird, like this nest thing. It was cool because it was built out of like sticks and twigs and trees. So it was definitely cool, but I was like, oh my God, this is a little creepy. So yeah. Other than that, it was really cool. My favorite part was walking with the ducks. There was a bunch of ducks there, and they would come almost right up to you. So the kids got a really good look at them, and that was pretty cool. So I'm just going through and trying to see like where to put the rest of the pictures, and I end up using this envelope to just stuff a couple things in there. And I had some receipts, or not receipts, but yeah, I guess receipts from the plane. And I used some of the stickers from the tags for the suitcase, and I just put them randomly. Yeah, I ended up putting this one here, and it had nothing to do with the actual journaling. Like it wasn't about the coffee shop or anything, but it was about that trip. So that was fine with me. And then again, I'm just kind of moving the pictures around through these journaling pages. At this point, it still felt like I had quite a bit of ephemera left, so I end up just stuffing things where they fit. Like I put the remainder pictures or plane tickets into that envelope and just put them in there. And now I am going to start journaling about another. Oh no, so we actually went to the Ark, which is like a real life size model of what the Ark, Noah's Ark, would have been like. And so these are the passes for that. And I'm just trying to see where I'm going to put these. And I kind of like when they're stapled on one side and they flip over. I've done this with other tickets like this in previous journals, and I just like how it looks. So I did it again. But they are a little bit too wide, and so I have to trim them to fit. So this spot was actually like an hour from where we were staying, but I was like, I probably will never get the chance to see this place again. And it was cool to see, but I guess, so as we were pulling up, you see it from far away, and it kind of looks small. And in my head, I had built it up like, oh, it's going to be huge. It has to be huge. And so when we like drove up to it with the bus, I was like, oh, it's not as big as I thought. But then inside it really is pretty massive. And so I grabbed one of the pamphlets and I'm folding it down because I also bought some postcards from there. And so I'm going to use one as a pocket, and then the other one I am going to use as a journaling spot. And when I'm gluing in things that are thick like this, I like to give them plenty of time to dry. So I do kind of jump around a lot. As I'm letting this dry, I move on to another one of the days that we were there, which was for an archery competition. So I'm cutting out this blue strip that kind of looks like a wristband, because I didn't have really much to show from the competition. So I'm just gluing that down on the page. And then I had the actual wristband that wasn't very cool at all. It was just like a plain red wristband. So once I glue this down, I put the wristband on top and we move on from there. So now I added the wristband. I did trim it a little bit because the ends were raggedy, so it's just kind of a little red strip of paper at this point. And I added a receipt, and then I'm just playing around with the picture layout. So I have these two pictures, but then I realized I had more pictures, so I just start putting those around this little page. And once I get the layout down that I wanted, I take the rest of the pictures and I put them in the envelope from the previous day, like from the garden. So I just start piling up everything because I actually had so many things from these couple days. I think we were only there like 4 days, and I had a lot of pictures, a lot of paper. And so at the end, when it's just too much, it just goes in a little envelope. And so for here, I just added I kind of cut around the ice cream cone that we got while we were watching the competition just because it looked cool. And then I added a label to add a little journaling. And I added this little strip of numbers from the stroller tag while we were going through the airport, just because the colors look cool on this page. So here I just start adding the pictures, but to break some of those straight lines, I cut around one of the pictures that was had a rainbow to kind of add a little bit of softness to the page. And then I kind of struggled a little bit with one of the smaller pictures because I didn't know exactly where to fit it. So you'll see some of that. It was kind of a weird layout for this page. And then I also had a pressed penny that I put on there with clear tape. And then in the pocket to the left, I end up adding some receipts, the pamphlet, and then one of the postcards that I will use as a journaling spot. If you can't believe it, I still had some ephemera. So I found this sticker from one of the coffee shops that we went to. It wasn't this exact one, but I just put it on there. And then here I am, starting another page with one of the coffee sleeves. And those are quite thick, so I'm just going to put it on there, let it dry, move on to another page, and then come back to it. This page ends up being a mashup of a lot of different things. So with the coffee sleeve, I add a tag from one of the thrifted items. I put this viewfinder that I thrifted in here just as a tab because it looks cool. And what else? I used the viewfinder circle came with a little paper, and so I ended up using that too as a journaling space. And I had this little sales tag from one of the printables from Etsy. And now I'm going through the pictures, and I use a Rolodex card to give me a little bit of journaling space and also to be able to make the picture double-sided essentially. And the place that we were at in Kentucky was actually pretty close to Indiana. So we were only like 20 minutes away. So we decided to go over to Indiana and kind of walk around a little bit. We went to another park and we just kind of snagged and explored a little bit. And so I merged some of the things from Kentucky and it kind of spills over into the Indiana page. So right now, some of these pictures are from when we went to Indiana. And here you can see that little piece of paper. It was just like a grid piece of paper, but it was perfect for journaling. And then here so I have the hotel key card and the little envelope. We always like to keep those. So I'm using that as kind of a little booklet flip out. I glue it down, but then it also gives me a spot to add another picture that doesn't necessarily have to be out, just because there was so much going on and it just fit perfectly there. So I put that there, and then I put the rest of the pictures with the hotel key card. So I decided to make these pages here into a pocket because I have a picture that one of my kids made, and I had some of our flight like stubs, whatever, plane tickets, from our trip, one of the trips, because I had already put some away in another spot in this journal. And so I glue that down, I let it dry, and it's important to let stuff dry because you don't want to end up with pages stuck together. So I'm going back now, and I think I'm just kind of getting a feel for everything, and I'm starting to add stickers. Oh, so here's the picture for the Mother's Day thing, because this trip was around Mother's Day weekend. And so we went to a restaurant, and one of the kids colored me a picture. And so I put that in there. And then I'm flipping through and everything, just kind of seeing where I'm at. I have this little envelope of stamps, like vintage stamps. So I was hoping to find one from Kentucky. I didn't. I found one that kind of reminded me of Kentucky, and one of Abraham Lincoln, which he was born in Kentucky. So I just put that there, just to decorate the page. And now I'm going through and stickering everything. So I just grabbed different random stickers, and you just decorate the page and have fun. I had these butterflies that were in my stash for a long time, so I finally used those up, even though they're extremely bulky. I also have these state stickers, so I found the one for Kentucky and Indiana. And so I'm putting, this is the Indiana spread. And the Kentucky's just fitting right in there. Although now that I'm looking at it, it doesn't really look good there. The color's like too blue with that orange from the postcard. Then I have these little stickers, and they look so cute, all stacked together like that, the little daisies. And now I'm using tiny word stickers going around. I think most pictures I usually put a tiny word sticker. And here's the finished spread. I went in and added my written journaling and possibly some more stickers off screen. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. This was really fun. It was a ton of stuff to put into the journal. I'm almost done with this journal too, so I'll have a flip through maybe in a couple weeks or a month or so. So I'll see you guys again next time. Bye.